Live from New York, it's a whole lot of drama. Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 behind-the-scenes SNL scandals. For this list, we're looking at the most infamous scandals behind the scenes of NBC's sketch comedy show. As such, controversies that played out primarily on-screen won't be included. So, no Ashley Simpson or Sinead O'Connor here. Number 10, the hiring and firing of Shane Gillis.
Comic Shane Gillis out at SNL after just a few days amid a firestorm of criticism.
In hindsight, this was an embarrassment for both parties. On September 12, 2019, comedian and podcaster Shane Gillis was announced as a cast member for SNL's 45th season. However, he was fired 4 days later when clips revealed that the comedian had used racial and homophobic slurs on his podcast. For clarification, these were from 2018. Gillis tweeted an apology of sorts that same night, but the damage had been done. SNL didn't escape unscathed either, receiving criticism for not having done enough background research into their new hire.
Gillis issued an initial statement saying, "I'm happy to apologize to anyone who's actually offended by anything I said. I am trying to be the best comedian I can be, and sometimes that requires risks." Pablo Estore of ESPN's High Noon tweeting, "It was only a risk because you and your hack friend are dumb enough to record it."
Number 9. Norm Macdonald claims he was fired over OJ jokes.
According to retailers, the most popular Halloween mask this year is O.J. Simpson. And the most popular Halloween greeting is, "I'll kill you and that guy who's bringing over your glasses," or treat.
In 1998, Norm Macdonald and fellow writer Jim Downey were fired from SNL. The reason? Well, according to NBC West Coast president Don Ohlmeyer, it was due to a decline in quality. But rumors flew that another factor had prompted Macdonald's removal. Ohlmeyer was good friends with O.J. Simpson, who had just been acquitted on 2 counts of murder.
And the Pope came out with a book this week, which contains a series of essays examining faith and morality in today's secular world and the changing role of the Catholic Church as it approaches the 21st century. The book is entitled, "God Himself Told Me That O.J. is Guilty."
And Macdonald had been making a lot of O.J. Simpson jokes.
In his book, O.J. Simpson says that he would have taken a bullet or stood in front of a train for Nicole. Man, I'm going to tell you, that is some bad luck when the one guy who would have died for you kills you. That's probably...
Macdonald has since changed his mind about Ohlmeyer's motives and believes the show just stopped seeing him as funny. But at the time, it was quite the scandal.
And finally, in honor of the 50th anniversary of their first publication, Random House will be releasing special commemorative issues of many Dr. Seuss classics. The first to hit the bookshelves will be Green Eggs and Ham and O.J. is Guilty.
Number 8. Rage Against the Machine protests host Steve Forbes.
Ladies and gentlemen, Rage Against the Machine.
When you hire a rebellious, politically minded rock band like Rage Against the Machine, maybe don't ask a CEO to host your show. Yet that is precisely what SNL did when Steve Forbes hosted in April 1996. During their performance, the band had an American flag hung upside down from one of their amps in protest while they sang Bulls on Parade.
They run me round the family with pockets full of shells.
Apparently, this was done without show creator and producer Lorne Michaels knowing about it. And as we'll see later on, the SNL head honcho does not like it when guests go off script. Michaels chased the band out of the studio immediately after their performance, and since then, Rage Against the Machine has been banned from the SNL stage.
I'd like to thank Rage Against the Machine, the cast, the writers, the crew, Lorne Michaels, my wife Sabina, my daughters, and every one of you for coming. Thank you.
Number 7. Damon Wayans fired for improvising.
With host Dudley Moore, musical guest Al Green, and featuring Damon Wayans.
When Damon Wayans joined the SNL cast in 1985, he was widely seen as a replacement for Eddie Murphy, who had left the previous year. Now, those are some big shoes to fill. Unfortunately, Wayans and Lorne Michaels had very different ideas about Wayans' role in the cast.
Well, I just flew in from the coast, and I was thinking, hey, I left LA at 12 o'clock. The flight takes 5 hours, but when I land, it's 8 p.m. I mean, hey, where did those 3 hours go? I don't know about you, but I gotta wonder.
Wayans wanted more creative freedom, while Michaels wanted to bring him up slow to, quote, protect him from the Eddie Murphy comparison. Well, that wasn't good enough for Wayans, who changed his character during a live taping, resulting in him getting fired. Wayans has since said that that's just what he wanted. He'd later find more success on the sketch comedy series In Living Color.
In living color.
Number 6. Steven Seagal, worst host ever.
It's great to be here in New York, and it's great to be opening up Saturday Night Live. Most of you probably know me from my action-adventure films, Above the Law, Hard to Kill, Marked for Death, stuff like that.
Both Lorne Michaels and SNL alums have been pretty vocal about what a terrible host Steven Seagal was. It wasn't because of his performance, or at least not only that, but rather his inability to work with the cast.
I couldn't help overhearing what you guys were saying, you know?
Oh, you were so quiet, you know. How long were you back there? We were just talking, you know. Yeah, you know, that's just, you know, tune the fire.
In the book Live from New York, The Complete Uncensored History of Saturday Night Live, several SNL alums spoke about Seagal's difficult behavior.
That makes me very nervous. You know, people who see my daughter should have plans.
These include incidents where he pitched completely tasteless skits, including one where he'd play a therapist trying to have sex with Victoria Jackson instead of counseling her for her sexual assault. The actor has been permanently banned from the show.
And perhaps the most interesting, a picture of you listening to the President of the United States on speakerphone as he reveals his part in the conspiracy.
You'll never make this stick still. It won't hold up in court.
Oh, I think it will.
Number 5. John Belushi refused skits written by women.
You look as sweet as you can be.
John Belushi is one of the most revered SNL cast members of the late 70s.
John Belushi.
But according to Jane Curtin, he was also unapologetically sexist behind the scenes. During her appearance on The Oprah Winfrey Show, she said that Belushi was one of several men who tried to sabotage the work of female writers.
Hey, waitress!
Curtin claimed that Belushi said that, quote, women are just fundamentally not funny, and that, quote, if a woman writer had written a piece for him, he'd half-ass it, quote, not reading it in his full voice. Never meet your heroes, kids. Number 4. A last-minute replacement makes a last-second change.
Calling Mr. Oswald with the swastika tattoo. There's a vacancy waiting.
Remember when we mentioned that Lorne Michaels doesn't like last-minute changes? Well, that was especially evident when Elvis Costello performed for SNL in 1977. Filling in for the Sex Pistols, Costello was brought on to perform his newest hit, Less Than Zero. The only problem was Costello felt the song was irrelevant to American audiences, as it was conceived as an attack against English politician Oswald Mosley. And so, a few bars into the song, Costello halted the performance, vaguely apologized to the audience, and transitioned into Radio. The English rock star would be banned from SNL for over a decade.
I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, but there's just really no reason to do this song here tonight.
Number 3. Kanye West has a meltdown.
This prayer's for everybody that feels like they're not good enough. For everybody that said I'm sorry too many times.
Given his penchant for tantrums and tirades, it should be no surprise to see Kanye on this list. In 2018, Kanye made headlines with a political rant during SNL's credits about President Donald Trump, the quote, liberal media, and his own presidential aspirations. But that wasn't his first meltdown on the show. In February 2016, he almost walked out moments before his performance because he didn't like the set. The notoriously egotistical rapper's meltdown got so bad that it took both Lorne Michaels and Kim Kardashian to calm him down. A short time later, audio clips of Kanye's tantrum surfaced, and needless to say, it was truly cringeworthy. Number 2. Nora Dunn boycotts the show. Andrew Dice Clay was one of the most famous and infamous comedians of the 80s. His Dice Man persona and shock humor both sold out venues and incensed critics, who slammed his act as sexist, homophobic, and racist. When the comedian was scheduled to host Saturday Night Live on May 12, 1990, SNL's Nora Dunn decided to boycott the show.
Welcome to the Pat Stevens Show. I'm Pat Stevens. Before we meet our guest today, let's answer some letters from our viewers. Dear Pat, you're a former model. Thank you.
Musical guest Sinead O'Connor followed suit. The show went on as scheduled, with beefed-up security measures, but not without an angry audience, some of whom had to be forcibly removed.
that wonderful? I'm so proud.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. Chevy Chase, Backstage Diva.
Live from New York, it's Saturday night!
Funny on screen doesn't mean fun behind the scenes. When he returned for stints on SNL, Chevy Chase was reportedly a nightmare for those who'd succeeded him. He managed to insult Robert Downey Jr., ended up in a fistfight with Bill Murray, and suggested a sketch to gay cast member Terry Sweeney about him losing weight due to AIDS. Will Ferrell described Chase as, quote, a little snobbish with a habit of screaming at people. The last straw finally came in 1997 when he slapped Sherry O'Terry in the back of the head and was banned from hosting duties. He's made a few guest appearances since, but those days are probably over. In 2018, he slammed the show as the, quote, worst humor in the world.
You under the covers right now? Did you shower?
Good evening. I'm Chevy Chase.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.